High noon on a Wednesday. Jones and Keefe, WEEI. It means it's time for Pure Hoops with Turp. Justin Turpin, weei.com. Check out all his work there. On Twitter, at Justin M. Turpin. Lots of good Celtics coverage throughout the postseason. Joe Mazzulla, all the players, game breakdowns afterwards with Mego. I saw after game one a loss for the Celtics, 108-105 in overtime, Turp. How are we feeling about the Celtics down 0-1?
I mean, I feel fine. I had them sweeping, so I feel all right after one loss. And I think if this loss came in game 2 or game 3, we'd be talking about it a lot differently. It's the fact that it came in game 1 that people are kind of alarmed by it.
What about Mazzulla's reaction to the whole thing? Basically like, hey, we missed shots. We need to make shots. What a novel concept. Knicks made shots. We missed them. Like, is that what? I mean, it's kind of a classic Mazzulla thing in many ways.
Yeah,
But what about the most recent?
I feel like a lot of people, the issue with the three-point shooting wasn't the volume, it was the quality of the shots. Like, they were taking a lot. I know the NBA tracking data suggested that most of them were open to wide open, but come on, we all watched the game. Those were not non-contested shots. Like, even that Drew Holiday one in the corner, like that one automatically comes to mind. Jason Tatum forced one late in the fourth quarter. There were some contested shots in there. So I think more of it was to do with, though, like the quality of them. Like, they took 30 pull-up threes. That's not a good sign.
Right. They were. Yeah, it was not a ton of catch and shoot. By their standards, it was a lot of pull-up 3-point attempts. To your point, I personally have a problem with the volume. And if you're making them, if it's game 1 against New York, meaning of the regular season, the season opener against the Knicks, and you're 29 out of 61, well, go ahead and launch them. Like, it's going in. When it's not going in, and it's not going in really all night, from the first quarter to the halftime to most of the second half, they got a little hot in the third quarter, but largely they're not making their threes all night long. At some point, to me, the volume does become a problem, and that's my only critique of the Celtics. And when Mazzulla's like, oh, well, the Knicks just made them and we just missed them. He just assumes if they keep launching them sooner or later, they're going to go in. On some nights, game 1, a prime example of it, that's not the case. I wish they just had a little more awareness of that.
Especially when they had guys in foul trouble for New York. They were getting downhill, getting to the free throw line, especially in the first quarter, too. That's what kept them in the game, was they were getting to the free throw line because they were not making any shots whatsoever.
Hart went out almost right away with 2 fouls. Brunson and Towns both had 3 by halftime.
And we talked all week about these mismatches that they have, and they really just didn't utilize them. And it's kind of obvious. Well, obviously the assist numbers won't be high when you're attacking mismatches because it's a lot of ISO ball. So that's why you see some of those pull-ups. But we've been talking about how easy it is to just blow by these guys, get them up in the post and all that. And they just didn't really take advantage of that. Like, I'm okay with the three-point attempts. They were 31-7 when they attempted 53s this year. Like, the three-point attempts is fine. The quantity is fine. It's the quality. When you're taking 30 of them, the ball's not really moving around. I mean, they've had 2 games this postseason when they've had 20 assists. They need to get the ball moving up. Like, that's when they're at their best, when the ball is hopping around. And, of course, they have 2 wins by double digits this postseason. Both of those were the 20 assist games.
What about the defense from the Celtics against the Knicks? Anything there?
I think that was actually the bigger problem in the second half. Like, guys were just over-helping. There was some breakdowns. Like, there was one in the third quarter where Jaylen Brown was just completely out of the play. OG Anunoby comes up and hits a 3. And another thing we talked about this week is not letting the other guys beat you. All in all, until the fourth quarter, they did a great job with Jalen Brunson. Same thing with Karl-Anthony Towns. It's when you have OG Anunoby going for 30 points and Mikal Bridges making those different big plays, those difference makers. That's a big deal, and that's where kind of the Celtics lost that game. All in all, they did a good job on Brunson and Towns. Like, you'll take those performances against them, but you can't be falling asleep on those other guys and letting them punish you. That's where the Celtics got into trouble.
You want to talk Celtics? You got questions for Terp? 617-779-7937. We do it every Wednesday at high noon. Pure Hoops. Talking Celtics here, so you can jump in with all your questions for Terp. You think the Celtics are ripe for an upset? And I started the show saying this, Terp. I look at the matchup, and I think the Celtics are going to win this series. I had it in 6 going in. That still feels about right to me, so I'm not picking the Knicks by any means. But if you just take a step back and you take the particulars out of it for a moment, I would say the Celtics are acting like a team whose crap doesn't stink. Their coach is more worried about getting into it with the media than he is about any adjustments in Game 2. Tatum was getting yelled at by Mazzulla earlier in the postseason. Miserable Game 1. Outside of the second half of Game 5, I don't know how many stretches they've played up to their potential in this postseason. They just feel like a team that has not impressed, despite only dropping 2 games to this point. are they ripe for getting picked off at some point, perhaps as early as this series against New York?
I mean, if you look at their losses, their 2 postseason losses this season, it's hard to think that way. I mean, the first one against Orlando, they scored 11 points in the third quarter and 34 points in the second half and only lost by two points. It was a one-possession game. Game 1 against New York, they missed 45 three-point attempts, got nothing from Kristaps Porzingis. Jason Tatum went like a quarter and a half without scoring, and they couldn't make really any shots, and they still only lost by 2 in overtime. So it's hard to really think that way. I get it, like how they're coming out now and kind of talking. Like, I understand why you might think that, but look at their losses. Like, it's been extremes, the games they've lost. So I think they have the reason to be confident.
But do you think they're playing well? Like, I just haven't, outside of, again, the second half where threes were falling of Game 5 against Orlando, I don't think they played well.
No, I'd agree. I don't think we've seen the best version of this team whatsoever. I mean, Orlando, we talked about it. That was a tough matchup for them, but they did not play a good game against New York at all, and they were still able to hang around. So I think at times, like, you're right, the talent itself has just been carrying them because we really haven't seen them put together a full game. I mean, even Game 1 against Orlando, that game, they were losing at the half, and in the Game 5 against Orlando, too, when they pulled away and had a double-digit win. That was close until the third quarter. So, no, we haven't really seen them dominate from start to finish yet.
Well, it's funny because not to let them off the hook for that, but, I mean, Cleveland's down 0-2, and I know they have injuries. The Thunder are down 0-1, and they also, besides that one crazy blowout win they had in Game 1, I don't know if they've played their best, but they at least do have that one game they can hang in their hat on.
In round 2, a higher seed has yet to win a game.
Correct. Yeah, it's pretty wild. As for Kristaps Porzingis, we see him leave the game. Non-COVID illness, as we find out later. He's now probable for tonight. He missed a bunch of games for some unknown real reasons.
I think it was 8 games, yeah.
It was an 8-game stretch. Any more info on what's going on with Porzingis?
Seems to just be an illness. I thought he was going to play in the second half the other night. He came out at halftime, was skipping around, was in the shot lines, warming up, looked like he was going to go, and then that was it. He didn't come back out. But they're going to need more from him. I mean, we talked about this, too, going into the series, that this was a good opportunity for Porzingis to bounce back. And he wasn't himself in the first half that he played in Game 1 against New York either. He was 0-4, didn't attempt a three-point shot. And now, you look at his averages, I mean, they kind of just tell the story. He's averaging 10 points. He's shooting 32% from the field. Like, 32% from the field is tough to do.
That's this playoff? Or
this
that's
is this
Celtics
playoff.
career?
This is, and those numbers aren't much better either.
Wow.
Rebounds, 5.5, 1 assist. Like, his numbers just aren't good enough. They're going to need him. We talked about it. They're going to need him to really go back-to-back and to win this thing, and he just hasn't been good enough.
Do you, even if he's available tonight, do you think he starts? Is there a way to, like, ease him in because he didn't finish Game 1? You could start Horford. Like, do you think even if he's available tonight, he's in the starting lineup?
I do think he'll start. I think that will be the case. I don't see them changing that. But, I mean, if this continues, you have to look at it as, like, maybe he would be better off coming off the bench. I mean, we had that conversation. That was really hot topic earlier in the season.
Because last year he came off the bench
in Game 1. That was his best playoff game as a Celtic. I mean, when he had that big Game 1 run against Dallas. Right. If you look at Al Horford, like, he's been terrific on both ends of the floor. Defensively, it's going to be overlooked, but what he did in the fourth quarter and overtime in Game 1 against New York was fantastic. His switchability against Orlando was great. The opponents are shooting like 34% against him this postseason. So, Al's been great. You're going to want him on the floor for both ways. And at this point right now, Porzingis has been like a negative player on the floor. So maybe he could benefit from that kind of change, but I think I don't think they're going to make that move going into tonight.
Lost in the loss was Drew Holiday, not only back, but was their best player.
He was great.
Like, he was the best player they had on the floor.
5 offensive rebounds, was just making play after play. It was funny because when we were watching it, I was like, Al Horford and Drew Holiday have been the story, like the elder statesmen here, really carrying them down the stretch, and unfortunately they lost, so those will be forgotten.
Let's mix in some calls with Turp. High noon every Wednesday, Pure Hoops, 617-779-7937. Matt is in Brighton. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. I wanted to ask a question of you. What is the worst defeat in NBA playoff history?
The worst
defeat? The Lakers in Game 6 in 2008. I don't know.
Like the margin of victory?
Well, guess what? We're going to set the bar a little high tonight because the Celtics are going to demolish the Knicks tonight.
Okay.
So I think, did the Thunder actually set the record? Or at one point they had the biggest lead, I think, ever in Game 1 against the Grizzlies.
Yeah, they were up like 50.
They had some insane
No, it was up there last year. It was Game 4, Celtics-Mavericks, the game they lost. was up there, and nobody will ever talk about it because it's obviously forgotten because they won the finals.
Largest margin of victory.
I remember they
Nuggets.
lost that game. They got smoked that
yeah,
bad.
it was the biggest margin of loss in an NBA Finals game.
2009, the Denver Nuggets defeated the New Orleans Hornets 121-63.
Oh, I don't know if they'll break that.
I don't know if they'll get
well,
that. And then the Lakers in 1956 also had a game. So 58 points is the biggest.
Matt says lay the 60.
Who's going to win it? The Celtics. Because there's no other reason why. The Celtics are the ball.
Fair.
Do you think, and we're all guilty of this,
Carmelo had 26 in that game.
disrespecting the Knicks to a degree, right? Like they're soft, they're finesse, they're just a head and shoulders a better offensive team than Orlando. They're a worse defensive team, and they're not as tough or physical. But do you think we all kind of overlooked, because we looked at it as the Pistons gagging away round one, do you think we all kind of overlooked the Knicks' ability to pull out some of these games late?
For sure, but they kind of earned it. They were 0-10 this year against Boston, Cleveland, and Oklahoma City. And like you said, they probably should have lost that series against Detroit. So I think they've earned that. But you've seen, they're a good team down the stretch, mainly because of Jalen Brunson, obviously won the Clutch Player of the Year award. So they're a good team. They have 2 All-NBA players in Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. And every time we talk about those guys, it's kind of in a negative light because of their defensive liabilities and how the Celtics punish them. But they've shown they can win them games.
Do you think they go back to the hack of Mitchell Robinson strategy tonight?
Yeah,
which
what'd you
is
think
obnoxious?
of that? I kind of liked it. I felt bad for him a little bit though when Tibbs is telling him intentionally foul Drew Holiday so we can get you off the floor so they can stop intentionally fouling you. That is embarrassing. That's
burn
brutal.
a foul on you so they stop.
We're gonna get you out of the game, so intentionally foul him.
What do you like about that?
I mean, that's a good way. I think when you're playing with the lead to just he's not going to make them. If it's going to work,
I would do it the other way. I would do it when you're behind and you need to steal possessions and get back into a game or the end of a quarter.
I mean, the
or
way they
something.
look at it, though, it's every possession.
But I feel like it interrupts your flow of the game.
Yeah.
And the Celtics have such a good when they're going, their offense is fun to watch.
But
Everybody
they
touches
didn't
it.
have a flow. They were missing
no.
all their shots in the first half.
No, that's true.
You're already playing at a slow pace. Might as well.
But then it's also hey, let's get Mitchell Robinson off the floor too, and you're like, okay.
He did
Now
burn
they're
a couple
better.
fouls there.
Yeah,
that was the
that's
thing,
also
too.
true.
for sure. And you can't beat the Knicks straight up? Why do you got to resort to gimmicks? Oh, that's a good point by the Twitch chat. Dark and Stormy Nights. That's not pure hoops, Terp. That's true.
That is not pure hoops.
Certainly not ethical hoops.
Hack Mitchell Robinson is not,
That's not
pure hoops. I think it's decidedly not. Tim is in Springfield. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, my only concern is analytics and momentum. It just seems that they don't switch gears. If they're just going to keep trying to knock 3-pointers down, and I don't know if there's a game plan to say, hey, this isn't working. We need to shift gears here. And as the series go on, let's say they go to the next round, someone's just going to figure it out. These guys are just going to keep throwing threes. So we're just going to keep coming up and hammering them, and let's see what happens.
Okay. What's the over-under on threes tonight? We set it at 60 earlier, Terp.
Put it at 50. We'll put it at 50. I think it'll be down. I think it will be down because I think they will have a more
50 for them is
concentrated effort of getting
gun
downhill.
shy, yeah.
But it also could be one of those things where if they end up blowing them out, you kind of milk the clock a little bit in the fourth quarter. You have your scrubs are
They
in.
blew them out in the season opener. They shot
True,
61.
and those guys still. I mean, if Peyton Pritchard's still out
But
there,
how many
he's
did they
still
take in
gonna
the
be
fourth
plowing away.
quarter there? Because they were purposely
They were going
for the
for the
record
NBA
there,
record,
yeah.
and they missed all of them in the final 7 minutes because there's no reason they shouldn't have broke it. They were missing wide open shots, kind of similar to game one.
True. Yeah, I think it's the over. I think they're going to take a ton. 'Cause
I'll
I think
take
they're
the
going to
over
make. I think they're going to make way more than they're going to make way more than 15.
Yeah,
so
I'll
they're
take
gonna
the
keep
over.
shooting.
I'll take the over on 50 for sure.
Yeah.
I think I'd take the over on 60.
New York
Maybe.
does deserve credit, though, for the way they stopped Boston from driving. When even the Celtics driving later in the game, a lot of their turnovers came on their drives. Their wings did a really good job of being physical and cutting off those lanes.
Look, I do feel this way. I mean, we spent a lot of time talking about Brunson and Towns, and those are really bad matchups for New York. The
But
Celtics
those
can
other
exploit
guys
those.
can defend.
Anunoby and Hart.
Yeah.
And I was mildly impressed with Bridges. We dumped on him a lot going in. Those other two, though, those guys are stout defenders. Those guys are, they would fit in on Orlando last round. So I think we probably overlooked those guys to a degree. They took away some of that from the Celtics for sure in game one. Is tonight, our good friend Kendrick Perkins said this yesterday, is tonight a must-win for the Celtics turn?
It's about as big of a must-win that this iteration of the Celtics have seen. Obviously, they haven't been behind in a series since 2023. So I don't know if it's necessarily a must-win because, again, there is such disparity between these two teams.
It's not a must-win.
But it's a big game.
But I like
for
the
these
biggest
guys.
game. spin it out that way. Is it the biggest game that
Is
this group has played?
Is it the biggest
That
game?
the Porzingis
Right,
holiday
these
Celtics.
2 years.
Obviously, the year
no.
before they played some
Right.
big
No,
ones.
you said it. This iteration, maybe.
The last 2 years, probably they've never been down in a series.
You get nervous. I forgot how badly they got whooped in Game 4 of the NBA Finals. You get nervous at all when they were up 3-0 and got smoked going into that Game 5 coming back to the Garden?
No.
A little-
Wait,
I was a
when
little
they were
nervous.
up 3-0?
No, after they lost Game 4, I felt like that game. I felt like that Game 5 closing out the NBA Finals was important for them.
No. I wasn't.
You think this is more important than that? I think that's more important.
Still had a 3-1 lead.
yeah, but I was nervous about that group closing, to be honest. I was
and
still
just
nervous.
Kyrie
Really?
getting in their head. Well, they hadn't done it yet.
Yeah, they had
So
After
they
the
had
way
it
they closed against Indy, though.
closed against Indy. It was a sweep.
Yeah, and they were very close to being down 3-1 in that
Indy
series.
played them close.
That was the toughest series
that was
they
a
played.
competitive sweep, but
They
that was a
closed
real
every
close
game
sweep.
in that
No,
series.
they closed some game. No, I don't disagree. They closed some games, but when they were up 3-0, they didn't blow a lead.
You really thought they were going to become that team was going to become the first team in NBA history to blow a 3-0 lead?
I think closing out the NBA Finals was a bigger game than this one. Yes.
No.
Yes.
I mean, I guess in the grand scheme, like it's the NBA Finals, but like there was no concern that they were going to lose that series.
You're losing
worried
2
about-
home games and being down 0-2 to the Knicks versus being down 3-2, I guess in that
Going-
case, to the Mavericks.
Yeah. And going back to Dallas, I didn't want that.
Would you be more
wants
nervous
that.
if they were down 3-2 to Dallas or down 2-0 to New York?
I'm saying I just answered
Yeah.
that 3-2.
3-2
Yeah,
to
I'd be
Dallas.
more nervous 3-2 to Dallas dropping those last two. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be more respect to Kyrie and Luka than it is to these guys.
I mean, I don't think it's a must win at all. I
not.
think if they go down 0-2, they can go to New York and win the next two.
I'm
Like,
with you. I picked a sweep, so yeah, they can
Yeah.
win 4 or 5. Yes,
they should.
what do you think of the other series?
that Pacers team. We were talking about them all
They're
year.
tough.
They're a good team.
They are.
and they gave a lot of teams. They were down 0-2 last year to New
Playoff
York.
Nembhard.
Yeah, playoff Nembhard. Halliburton's been great. He's really leaning into that overrated thing.
Seriously.
Like 12 players rated
Which
voted
is
the most
wild.
overrated. And
Shaq came out and was like, he's not overrated, right? On the
Yeah.
TNT, they were talking about it. He's like, guys, he's not overrated.
that team's good.
Properly rated.
I don't think Cleveland can use the excuse that they didn't have any of their guys because they led by 20 and had a 7-point lead with under
Well,
53
if
seconds.
they lose the series, they'll point to that. But you're right. In that game, they should have won the game.
Yeah, I
regardless
mean,
of who
in
was
the
playing.
series, and they missed Garland tremendously in Game 1. But
right.
you also had a 20-point lead and
You
7-point lead, and then you allowed 2 offensive rebounds.
Yeah,
you
that's
threw
rough.
the ball away on an inbounds. Like that can't happen. You mean to tell me out of all the guys on the roster, nobody can inbound the basketball?
Yeah,
like
no,
that's a little ridiculous.
That's bad.
Curry's injury? How concerning is that?
I mean, we were just talking about it with Drew Holiday, right? Like an older 34-year-old who was dealing with something. Now Curry's a little bit older than Drew Holiday, dealing with the hamstring, and obviously they're going to need him. I don't think Minnesota matches up well against Golden State anyway, and they have other guys that I think Golden State could get through that series without him. But if they want to challenge either Denver or Oklahoma City, they're definitely going to need Steph Curry.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. That is Pure Hoops with Turp. High noon every Wednesday here on Jones and Keefe. You got full coverage tonight, Game 2?
Yes, sir.
What can we expect? We got stand-ups with Mego. We got all the social media videos and everything going out there.
All of it, yeah.
Write-ups. Turp stays up until like 5 in the morning.
He's up
after
all
these
night.
games.
Seriously.
He's up grinding away.
Uh-huh.
For the love of hoops.
Make
That's it.
sure
That is the most pure.
The man loves the purest of pure hoops and hacking Mitchell Robinson.
Yep.
So you can follow him on social media at Justin M. Turpin for all your Celtics coverage there. Turp will talk to you next Wednesday.
All right, guys.
Thanks, sir.
That's Pure Hoops with Turp.